Hey YouTube, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Welcome into another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are on board with ARCITYS. We have a pretty gnarly point of view from ARCITYS. I do like to go ahead and get on board with him, especially since he's been running that AR. We all know how comfortable he is with that AR, and as of late, he's been absolutely slaying with that AR. So we are on board with ARCITYS as Chicago goes to battle against the Dallas Empire, just as I normally do to recap these 5 hardpoint maps as a whole. This is actually the only one that Chicago ended up winning. The vast majority of them were super close, including the Gunrunner. So the Gunrunner was 249 to 249. Had there been one more second in P2 on the third set of rotation, Chicago would have ended up winning that. But as it rotated back to P3, there just wasn't quite that one extra second, and they ended up dropping there. So they were 1-4 over the course of the 5 maps, but I wouldn't be too concerned about it just because of the fact that overall they were really close, and coming off of their last tournament, they do have a few weeks to get ready for champs. So I would expect them to be grinding over the next few weeks, and we all know what can happen in a week's time, let alone 3 weeks' time. So as we go ahead and get into the actual analysis of this one, not the best start overall for Chicago. They did end up winning P1, although they just broke through. Literally, as soon as I was saying that, they just broke through the bottom side of the map. ARCITYS spawned top P2, and now they have those back spawns. So just to pause this real quick, just to kind of show you what was happening there as we got started. Chicago did start on the left-hand side of the map. As they pushed into P1, they basically split time. It was 28 to 22 at the end of P1, and as you're seeing a lot of teams do, as soon as it rotates to P2, rather than have somebody flank up top or have a couple people hit pocket here and hit mid, rather than take all those separate routes, it's becoming really popular to just flood the bottom side of the map, because if you can kind of work around this white van that's back here, as soon as you get a couple kills, then you'll overtake this dominant spawn right here, which will take your enemies and spawn them up here like towards top green, and that's exactly what happened right there. So they were successful at pushing the bottom side of the map and getting through. We'll see if they're going to be able to hold it as we get back into this one. The one thing that I will mention is in about 35 seconds, when this P2 comes to a close, let's look and see if Chicago is successful at getting out at P2, because this has been their biggest struggle as of late. They've been able to get into P2. They've been able to overtake those spawns. They've been able to hold time in P2, but when it comes to leaking out, and you can already see here that they have control of top L, bottom L, and they have control of P1. So this is already better. Actually, this is basically a perfect rotation here. Nice 2-piece there from ARCITYS. This man just fries with the AR in his hand. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to overtake those back spawns, but they are through P1. They have pushed up the top L and bottom L. So where they get in trouble is we saw New York do this against them. We saw a couple other teams do this against them. And this really is the main strategy moving forward, right? If you're the team that doesn't have control of P2, then if you can just push up and not allow the team that has control of P2 to get out and push forward towards P3, then you can really start to win this map once it gets to P3 and P4 and eventually to P5, if you can hold that spawn the entire time. But again, I say this every time, the best thing that I love about scrims is that we can actually listen in, we can hear their team comms. This is another map that is pretty intense, so I do want to make sure that we get in and actually hear them. I will still check in with you guys and break down the things that I think are super important when it comes to spawns and map rotation, but without further ado, let's go ahead, let's listen to the Chicago team comms.
I
got wall bang.
Let's try to make the top green jump.
Make crates on you.
I'm gonna die.
Make crates on
Great, then.
I stopped shooting. Green crate was
Green
off.
dead.
I'm going top of you.
No, he's still P3, bro.
I'm pushing.
Spawn first, spawn first.
Bottom tools, he's LA weak.
I'm top green with you.
Let's go
I'm
to
going.
And graffiti.
Stay alive, Matt.
I'm hiding.
I'll find out.
Weak and hill.
Oh, fuck. We're gonna flip.
I got
That guy's got first. You can push us fast.
Middle, Kyler.
I'm in their side.
Yeah, pick up first of them.
Pick up
I'm
right.
looking at this.
Making
Back right, back right.
Enter their side dead.
Yeah, tools
Looking next.
Turn back right. I died.
Back right.
Pushing it. He's already back trailer. He's trailer, Matt.
Kill
One more
him,
time,
Tyler.
I got time. Trailer. Grim, one shot trailer.
One's
in hill.
They're dead yet.
Dead.
There's two
We're
tools.
spawning.
They're pushing out.
Go
Go
back right,
Taylor.
I got one.
I'm crossing. I'm trying to cross.
With about 14 seconds left, I'll say that this is a really good start for Chicago, right? They were able to flip and get time inside of P2. As it rotated to P3 and P4, they essentially held like a 40-point lead. They did give up the last 15 seconds inside of P4, but you can see ARCITYS is set up on the bottom side of the map for a push through bottom L. You can see that the rest of his teammates are in top heaven on the left-hand side of the map. So it looks like at the end of the first set of rotations, as he almost nades himself there, they should be in really good position as it goes to the second set of rotations.
Oh, we could put pressure green in like
Yo,
10
green
shots.
pillar, shot you.
Top green,
Yeah.
top L, dead.
Dead one
Absolutely.
I don't see this
I'm
guy
in
green.
first.
He's third.
In P3, P3.
That's out.
You just heard, I want to point this out real quick because you just heard this from Troy in the background. So obviously their head coach, center, was just telling them a few things. And he said, we can go ahead and we can push out towards top green. So let's just explain what he's talking about there. Obviously they have control of P5. ARCITYS was down here towards the bottom side of the map getting kills on anybody that's pushing forward. But since he has control of the bottom, the most likely place for Dallas to spawn is either inside of P1 or up towards top green, right? If he were to push up more, they would spawn top green. It just depends on where the pressure is coming from. But what Sender was saying right there is that if you just push out the top side of the map, because they had control of heaven, they had control of the top side of the map. If you just push this out and you get into this top green area, that's going to take Dallas's spawns and it's going to continue to put them out a little bit further. And you also saw on the bottom side of the map, you saw ARCITYS push out a little bit. He was up here almost into top L. So if they get control of P5 and they have somebody in top green and they have somebody top L, that's just going to continue to take Dallas's spawns and put them further and further away from P5. So once you get control of P5, I like the idea of pushing out more towards mid-map, getting more pressure towards Dallas's spawns, and then it just makes it easier to control what's going on inside the hard point.
Oh, guys, that's out.
Yeah.
Third.
They're gonna be
Back up the door, back up the
Be
door.
on,
That's
be
fine,
on.
that's
Yeah, their
fine.
door. One shot their
Ammo,
door.
dude. I have
I
no
need
fucking
top, I
ammo.
need top L.
Trying to
Should be
get
an
the
air
ball,
top L.
no.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm trying to put him. I'm smoking in.
There's a gun top middle.
Middle. Kyler,
Oh, I got stuck, dude. Yeah, they have.
Now, the other thing to think about here is that as you're about to rotate back into the second set of rotations back to P1, do you want to push heavy for the flip, or would you rather get inside of P1 and really try to get time inside of P1? If this was me, I would be advising, since we have basically a 70 or 80 point lead, just try whatever you can to get inside of P1. Because if you can just get 40 seconds inside of P1, you're going to have a massive lead. You're going to retain that lead going into P3 after Dallas gets time inside of P2, and then you can focus on winning from there. So I like what they're doing. Push a bunch of people towards P1, try to get these last 40 seconds, and then you can worry about P3, P4, and P5, and you don't have to stress so much about trying to flip spawns for P2.
Top L, one shot.
I'm watching up.
Is
You
it-
guys are
Look
both
at
watching the same thing.
AC jumped dead.
Yeah, I was trying to get one of you guys to help me, bro.
I got one in the door.
Oh, press him through. Someone's through. Good job, pressing
No,
one more time.
one more on me. Fuck.
I'm hitting AC.
Almost
dude.
made it.
Under the van, Cram.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Top,
Dude, there's
top,
one on their
top.
door. There's two their door.
I ignore time. I ignore time. Spawning green, guys. Spawning green. Spawning
Nice.
green.
I'm angry.
It's top P2. Ah, never mind. Clay's top P2. Clay's top P2. We're good. I spawned back L.
Oh, he's
Take your
fire,
time with this.
fire.
Everyone go right. Everyone go right.
I'm hitting the crates right now.
I would have, just real quick,
Right.
I really would have
Yeah.
liked ARCITYS to just post up just for a second as he pushed that out. So he was inside of P1, and as he started running forward, he got to this car right here. And once he got towards the bottom side of the map, you know that then Dallas is going to spawn towards the top side of the map. So ARCITYS continued. He tried to jump over this wall and get underneath P2. I really would have liked to have seen him just post up on this car and try to get kills as Dallas tries to rotate in, right? If they're spawning up top, they're going to be trying to push back towards P2. So if you can get kills as they're trying to cross back towards P2, what that would do is that would allow the rest of your teammates to push through the bottom side of the map, and now you can start to put more pressure on the hard point as a team. So I get that he was trying to get in and he didn't really have much time, but if he just sets up and he's able to get a couple kills, then his teammates can come back in as reinforcement and they can really do a nice job of getting control of P2 Hill.
He's playing
They're
fire.
first.
Four coming.
Might have gone
Got me.
green, yeah.
Nice,
Four.
fire.
Okay.
He's green.
Nice.
He's pushing
Just
out
play-
green.
One more on me.
I got him.
Yeah, top P2. Top P2. He's
Top
taking
P2,
out win.
yeah.
Green dead.
Green
Green
dead,
dead.
green
Green
dead.
dead.
Top hill weak.
All right, we need to use the smoke here.
Top
Use the
cut,
smoke.
and they're dead.
Ah,
Nice,
I
nice.
got smoke left.
Use
Three
me,
left.
Joe.
Back.
I'm going top scav. I'm
Close
trying
target.
to
One
power
stairs.
slow.
Man, the
He's
fuck
bottom
out of
Kyler
this.
there. More bottom hill.
Oh, I'm
And
naded.
tire.
I'm
One
tired.
shot.
They got me bottom
Tired,
middle.
tired, tired.
Cop,
Oh,
cop,
he
cop.
jumped
I'm
off.
gonna try to get green. Try to get green.
One
I
shot.
like top
Good
car
job,
area.
Expect one on green.
Oh, he got me.
Expect
Yeah,
one on green.
yeah.
Milk,
I'm
milk,
trying to
milk.
pick it up.
Trying to help you first.
Yeah, green.
There's guys
Tyler,
cap.
dead.
There's guys
Scap,
cap. You're looking for Scrim.
Scrim.
I got
Cap
one
dead.
green side.
Trying to hold
One their
middle.
door. One shot their door. Super weak. He's in bottom hut. Bottom first. Bottom first.
Another one. I got another one green.
I'll say
Boy.
first.
In middle.
I got
Trying
time
to get
again.
middle.
Yeah,
Smoke
smoke
middle.
Do you have olive green or?
Yeah,
First,
yeah,
first,
they shouldn't
check,
be able to
check,
get
check, top cap. There's
Yeah,
guys check,
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 check.
check.
Middle.
Check that on you.
I'm
Last
still
guy
holding
was
green.
old. Last guy was old.
Yeah, one more
Tyler?
check. One more check.
No, I killed Kyler. I killed him.
First.
Oh my god,
First,
Ender
first,
first.
first.
They got the first ones. What's going top L? Ender.
I need help, guys. I need help.
He's
Yeah.
weak
Mid
top L.
map,
Weak
I'm
top
coming
L.
back.
Weak top L. Nice.
Still dead.
Look at
One
bottom
mid.
L.
I'm trying to bottom
Nothing
up. I'm
green.
banging bottom
He won
up.
middle, guys.
He's
He
bottom
won
L, just holding. Oh, you got hit your shot.
I'm
They're
picking
not-
out.
I killed my cone.
You have
Middle
mid
Nuke
crates?
dead. Another one middle.
in
Mid
middle
crates
again.
and first door.
Help,
One
guys.
shot.
Let's try them.
I'm
taking
gonna
left
flank
to
left.
bell.
I got one tools. I got one tools. Play
Should
top
be
L on
over
you.
L now.
Yo,
Over
just
L.
hold, guys. Hold. I'm flanking left.
Trying to go top
Just
slam.
smoke.
Mid crate's dead.
Good time, good jump.
One
One
front
middle,
hill. Front
Yo,
hill.
graffiti, what the fuck? Dead?
Bell.
Illy's mid. Illy mid. Illy mid.
Dead.
Nothing bottom L.
They're getting back right spawns, I'm pretty sure.
I threw a trophies mid.
Smoke 3 off mid.
Top AC hop, top AC
Nothing in
hop.
front.
Grim one shot, Grim weak. Grim weak AC hop.
Yo, just keep holding.
Try to get the green, guys. Try to get. There's already
Yeah,
rotating green.
yeah.
Rotate through hill, rotate through
Their
hill.
door. Their
Yeah,
door.
One shot, I'm
He's
one
going
shot.
mid, mid
I'm
crates.
passing you, I'm passing you.
Hey, go, go, go.
L's open.
Great scrim.
Yeah, I'm looking out for
One
you.
green crate.
Scrim, middle, scrim, mid crate. Can you get one top?
Somebody
And you're on
down.
new.
Down.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, there's
Nothing.
three
They're on
on
new.
new. New guys.
I should've swung.
Green pillar's dead.
Nice, another one. No one's dead?
Another one. Yeah, another one.
One
Pillar.
shot, super weak. I'm
Great
early.
shot.
These are
There's
tools.
two
man.
I'm looking for
On the
you.
wall too, bro. Fuck.
I need it over green wall.
Oh,
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
My
I
bad.
hit him.
First.
That's
Yo,
my
just
first
hold
Top
shot.
on,
green.
hold on.
We gotta
I'm
get the
close
guy.
hill.
Go
One
top
more-
slant to green. Get green.
Dead, man, dead.
Get top green. Oh, we're
Still
spawning
dead.
first.
Still
Yeah,
dead.
yeah.
Yep, one more there.
Top hill, only one at a time.
Okay, no.
Yo, slow it down, work together. Slow it down, work this shit together.
Stop.
Help.
I spawned tools, guys.
Behind me, no, behind me, no, behind me, no.
B3, sorry.
Pushed out. Pushed
You
out.
cross.
Tools
I'm gonna
under.
cross.
I'm
You
pitching,
cross
I'm
and weak.
pitching,
Yeah,
hold,
go,
guys,
go.
hold.
Tyler, dead. One more
One
wall.
on the wall. We're
I'm
gonna
behind
play it.
him.
We're flipping.
Yeah, we
we're
flip.
flipping.
We flip. Just get this time. Get this time.
That's one first, one first.
Weak in hill. Fuck. He's pushing
No,
out
we
the door.
didn't flip, we didn't flip,
Two-
we
There's
didn't
three
flip.
I
hills.
got spawns, yeah, I got
Two more
spawns.
doors.
So I will point out real quick, this game is getting a little bit tighter, right? They really only have like a 25 or 30 point lead at the moment. But as we're watching this, I just kind of saw this developing. So as they were spawning in the back and pushing inside of P4, they ended up getting gunned in the middle of the map. And when that happens, that kept spawning them inside of P1. So you saw them up top trying to get kills at this route right here as Dallas was trying to rotate in. And even ARCITYS, as he was pushing through bottom L, he went towards a graffiti wall and he kept trying to get in this way. And essentially what happens is if Dallas is spawning up here towards the top right-hand side of the map, as they push into P4, obviously they want to get time, but all they have to do, there's no pressure back on the left-hand side of the map towards P5. So all they have to do is just push the top side of the map. As soon as that happens, then they overtake these back left spawns, and as it goes to P5, now they have a much greater route to victory, right? If they can get at least some of this time inside of P4 and then get within 50 or 60 points of winning, they can really make things close by holding down P5 and then trying to make a play or two inside of P1. Whereas if Chicago just focuses this left-hand side of the map and secures spawns for P5, it doesn't matter what happens in the last 25 seconds inside of P4. They can just rotate back to the left-hand side of the map and win when it comes back to P5.
Come with their
One more
side.
in first, first point.
Wait,
Hey,
low
hey,
gate, guys.
I'm looking.
We gotta kill
Alright,
that
slow the
guy.
fucking
spawn
game
first,
slow the
we
game
spawn
down.
first.
Listen to each
We're
other.
good. We spawn pit. We spawn pit.
Crim was in first, Crim was in first.
There they overtook spawns again.
I'm going top line, I'm going top line.
3L.
Play it down,
Jump
play
down.
one shot, play weak. Clay should be dead, Clay should be dead.
Two pit.
Ender weak, Ender weak.
They're hitting
Shot
through
old
smoke.
weak.
I got one, Ender there, Ender, trailer, on trailer somewhere.
He went
He's in
south.
time, guys.
Low left. I'm getting
I
flashed.
spawn right, guys. They're
Low
all
left,
left, they're left, they're left.
The right. Front door.
I'm pulling out,
Still
guys.
low left. Shotzi still low left.
Left, yeah, left.
Down time on me.
Top left, top left.
Nice.
Pushed out camper. That's me.
Right,
Oh.
Top three.
Trying to get to you
We
guys.
spawned
my
all the
God.
way out, bro.
Top one.
Boy with a nice knife there on his
We spawned all the way
teammate.
out mid.
I got one watch across.
Shotsino.
That's one way out.
Shotzi got me. What the fuck?
They don't win off this though. They don't win
Top
off
three.
this.
Top three.
Dude, there's 3 in there.
So I spawned
Top
mid
three,
pocket,
top
top
three,
pocket.
I'm gonna die, bro. He's
Top
blue
three.
van,
No,
Kyler.
No, green crate
Top
on me.
three dead.
I'm right.
Green crate
Give
on
me
me.
right, I'm trying to
Ellie,
help.
green
I'm
crate.
trying to look right.
Don't
guys.
show you,
Point
press
up,
him,
you
don't show
want
you,
to-
press him.
Go shot top L. He's top
Yo,
L.
what's
Slant,
up, slant?
Could be
Top
bottom
slant.
L, guys. He could be bottom.
He smoked
Slant,
mid
slant,
from
Oh my
slant.
god, bro.
Yeah,
I have our
middle.
mid.
There's
I
another
have
green
bottom
crate.
middle.
Top.
I'm looking green.
Dude, they're
One,
in,
one,
they're
two
in.
L, 2L.
Button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Top L,
trying
guys.
to call that shit out.
One middle.
Top
There's
L.
two top L. There's two
On
top
fire,
L.
Top
on
out
fire.
play.
I need a top L.
Up right now, play.
They have trophies. He's in
Try to
bottom
hold.
two, Seth.
Dead.
Two bottom,
There's
two bottom.
two
Go
low.
I went
Go
top L, I went top L.
Yeah, he's
Hard
in
left.
white barrels, white barrels.
I'm top L with you.
I'm in time.
Another one
Give me
low.
one try.
Another one
Dude.
low.
Another one there,
I'm
another one
fighting,
there,
I'm fighting.
another one there, another one there.
Behind him.
We're spawning. We're
Weak.
spawning fork. We're spawning fork.
I'm watching him, I'm watching
Yo,
him.
mid.
Bottom
mid.
L, dead.
Clutch two-piece there
I'm
from
name
ARCITYS to
passing,
get time inside of P1.
Top L hurt, top L hurt.
I went top green dead. I went top
Can they be
L.
AC up? Can they be AC up or no?
I
No,
flashed
no,
on top
should
L,
be
I
able
flashed on
to.
top L.
He's bottom L, bottom L.
Look at bottom L.
I've all been on.
Bottom L dead.
Top L.
Play bottom L. Play bottom L.
Mid. And there's going on mid.
Middle me, Scrim.
I spawned
Oh,
green. I
bottom
spawned
L,
green.
bottom
Crim's middle, going top AC.
I have your AC, I have your AC.
AC
No one
dead.
in,
AC
no
dead.
one in.
What the fuck?
We might have
Okay,
flipped. We might have flipped.
That's fine. Good job.
Oh, I just went
We
off
just
the
got
other end.
we just got calm
All
down
right,
on
so
the
it did
green
get
over.
a little bit dicey there towards the end, but they were able to hold on. I didn't like the fact that they had so much pressure in their face at top L and bottom L, so as Dallas had control at P5, they were able to push into top L and bottom L, and that makes things a little bit dicey for holding that P1 as it goes back to the third set of rotations. But as we go ahead and look here, the duo held it down, right? ARCITYS 38 and 25, Formal 39 and 24. That is what they need moving forward into playoffs if they want to make a run to a title. Of course, Envoy and Scump and Pristini, they all have to play well, but I really do think that those are the biggest keys going into playoffs. What will ARCITYS and Formal look like when it comes down to it? So with that, guys, if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I put out brand new videos every single day covering the Call of Duty League. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like. It really helps out the channel. Comments, anything you have on this one against Dallas, the other 4 maps overall, put them down below. I love the interactions. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you in tomorrow's upload.